It's wild how a family can look so perfect on TV, all smiles and togetherness, while behind closed doors, everything is falling apart. The Brown family, with their big grins and matching t-shirts, sold America a story of unity. But if you've watched closely, you know there's a different truth hiding in the shadows. The pain of being the oldest, the one everyone leans on, the one who's expected to hold it all together while the adults chase their own dreams. Logan Brown knows that pain better than anyone. He was the firstborn, the fixer, the peacekeeper, the one who never got to be a kid because someone always needed him to be the adult. And when the cameras stopped rolling, the cost of that role became impossible to ignore. Hey friends, I'm Halen, and this is TLC's Sister Wives Recaps. If you're as obsessed with the real stories behind the headlines as I am, make sure you hit subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know, did you see this coming? Did you ever sense the cracks in the Brown family's picture-perfect image? Today we're pulling back the curtain on Logan, Kody, Janelle, Robin, and Dayton, and the real fallout of a family built for TV, not for love. From the very first season of Sister Wives, Logan stood out. Not because he was loud or attention-seeking, but because he was always in the background, quietly making sure things didn't fall apart. Being the oldest of 18 kids isn't just a number, it's a job. Logan was the one who got up early to help with breakfast, who wrangled his younger siblings when chaos broke out, who stepped in when Janelle was working late or when Kody was off chasing the next big family project. He was the steady hand, the calm voice, the one who made sure homework got done and dinner was on the table. You could see it in those early episodes. While the adults were busy with their own drama, Logan was the one corralling the little kids, making sure everyone had shoes on before church or quietly cleaning up after a family meal. He didn't complain. He didn't make a scene. He just did what needed to be done because that's what was expected of him. Kody, for all his talk about family unity, leaned hard on Logan. There was this unspoken rule. If something went wrong, Logan would handle it. If a sibling was upset, Logan would talk them down. If the house was a mess, Logan would pick up the slack. Janelle relied on him too. She's always been open about how much she worked, how stretched she felt trying to provide for her kids. Logan became her right hand, her backup parent. He was the one she could count on to keep things running when she couldn't be there. And the other kids looked up to him, not just as a brother, but as a kind of third parent. But that kind of responsibility comes with a price. Logan never really got to be a kid. He was always the one holding it together, always the one expected to be mature, to set the example, to never let anyone down. The show gave us glimpses of this, the way he'd quietly step in during family arguments, the way he'd comfort a crying sibling, the way he'd swallow his own feelings to keep the peace. That's the reality of being the golden child in a family that's always performing for the cameras.
After Logan left, the family story shifted almost overnight. Kody and Robin worked hard to control the narrative, both on the show and in their own home. To the cameras, Kody played it cool, acting like Logan's absence was just a normal part of growing up. He'd say things like, "Logan's busy with school," or "he's focusing on his future." Robin echoed that, always with a soft voice, always trying to smooth things over. But the truth was, they were both scrambling to keep the rest of the family from asking too many questions. Inside the house, the tension was thick. Dayton, who had once looked up to Logan as a big brother, was left confused and hurt. He'd been told that Logan just didn't want to be part of the family anymore, that he didn't support the adoption, that he was distant. You could see the uncertainty in Dayton's eyes during those rare family scenes. He'd glance at Kody, searching for reassurance, but the answers never really came. The other siblings felt it too. Some tried to fill the gap Logan left behind, stepping up in small ways, but nobody could really take his place. On social media, fans started to notice the change. Logan stopped appearing in family photos. He wasn't at big events, wasn't tagged in posts, wasn't mentioned in interviews. The silence was loud. Janelle would sometimes post a throwback or a quiet message about missing her kids, but she never called out the real reason for Logan's absence. It was all very careful, very controlled. Family conversations on the show became more guarded. When the topic of Logan came up, there was a pause, a shift in energy. Kody would steer the conversation away, Robin would look down, and the rest of the kids would go quiet. The show tried to keep things light, but the pain was there, just under the surface. The family that once prided itself on honesty and openness was now tiptoeing around the truth, hoping the audience wouldn't notice the cracks. But anyone who'd watched from the beginning could see it. The Browns were hurting, and no amount of spin could hide the loss of their oldest son. As time passed, the story that Kody and Robin told about Logan started to wear thin, especially for Dayton. He'd grown up hearing that Logan had turned his back on the family, that he didn't care about his siblings, that he was just too busy for them. But the more Dayton thought about it, the less it made sense. He remembered all the times Logan had helped him with homework, the way he'd always made sure Dayton felt included. Even when things were tense, the version of Logan he'd been given didn't match the brother he actually knew. Dayton's doubts grew, and eventually, he decided he needed answers for himself. Away from the cameras, away from the family's expectations, he reached out to Logan. It wasn't some big, dramatic reunion, just a simple message, a quiet attempt to bridge the gap. Logan responded, and the two met up. Not as TV characters, but as brothers who'd both been caught in the crossfire of someone else's story. Their conversation wasn't about blame, it was about understanding. Dayton admitted he'd felt abandoned, but he also realized he'd been fed a version of events that wasn't the whole truth. Logan explained how hard it had been to walk away, how much he'd struggled with the decision, and how he'd needed to set boundaries to protect himself. For the first time, Dayton saw the pain behind Logan's silence, and Logan saw the confusion and hurt that had been left behind. That meeting didn't fix everything, but it was a start. It was a moment of honesty in a family that had spent years hiding behind a script. For both brothers, it was a chance to heal, to move forward, and to build a relationship on their own terms. In the end, the truth mattered more than loyalty to a narrative. Setting boundaries wasn't betrayal, it was survival. And for Logan and Dayton, it was the first real step toward healing.
Kody never expected to lose his grip on the family he'd worked so hard to keep under his thumb. When Logan walked away, it wasn't just a son leaving home, it was the first real crack in Kody's sense of control. He tried to blame Janelle, accusing her of turning Logan against him, but she stood her ground. Janelle had always protected her kids, and now she was done letting Kody rewrite the story to suit his ego. Their arguments grew sharper, more raw, with Janelle finally saying out loud what so many viewers had seen for years. Kody used his love as a weapon, and Logan was just the first to say no. Hunter, another of Janelle's sons, stepped in too. He called out Kody's pattern of punishing anyone who set boundaries, refusing to let his dad bully his mom or rewrite history. For the first time, Kody was forced to sit with the consequences of his choices. The family's loyalty was shifting, not because they wanted to hurt him, but because they were tired of pretending. The old rules didn't work anymore. Watching Logan's journey, it's impossible not to feel the weight of what he carried. He showed that sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away from a story that isn't yours. His silence wasn't weakness, it was strength. For anyone who's ever felt trapped by someone else's expectations, Logan's story is a reminder that you're allowed to choose yourself, even if it means letting go of the people you love. Logan's story isn't just about one son stepping out of the spotlight. It's about the hidden cost of keeping up appearances. The pain that comes from being asked to sacrifice your own needs for someone else's version of family. The Browns showed the world a united front, but behind the scenes, the pressure to perform, to obey, to never question the script, left real scars. Logan's decision to walk away forced everyone to face the truth. You can't build real love on control and manipulation. The fallout was messy, and the healing is still ongoing. But it's proof that honesty and boundaries matter more than any TV storyline. If you've ever felt the weight of someone else's expectations or watched a family fall apart from the inside, you know how real this is. I want to hear your thoughts. Did you see this coming for Logan? Do you think the Browns can ever truly heal? Drop your comments below and don't forget to subscribe to TLC's Sister Wives Recaps for more honest, no-spin breakdowns of the stories behind the show. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.